3, 2, 1.
It's just fired.
What's going on, everyone? It's Mike back again, and here we are talking transfers. John, how are we?
I'm all right, mate. Enjoying the sun, done my garden today, few tinnies, so it's all good, loving life. How are you, by the way?
I'm all
ask you
right.
that after the video, because I watched the video and it brought a tear to me when I watched that last night. You know, it was nice to be mentioned, and it's nice to, to hear that I've become a big part of your life. And, we have talked about a lot of things. You've been there for me, Michael, because since I've known you, I've been through some sort of tough times as well. So I know we're not talking about that now, but I just want to say it was a really, really good video, an in-depth video. And some of the comments you've had have been really, really good, towards you, the channel, me to a certain extent, not so much, because you've done the video. And I think people realise that what you've had and what you've been through, you have had some tough times. And I think, people see us on here and they don't really realise what people have been through, because people are good at hiding it. But, you're over the worst of it now, and I was just glad I was there for you. So thanks very much for mentioning me, because it did mean a lot.
It's fine. Obviously, it was important. Obviously, look, irrespective of what goes on YouTube between me and you, there is still a real world, and sometimes it's just good to talk about the real world and how experiences matter. Yesterday was a really tough day for me, because not only did I record that video, as you are fully aware, there's a very strong possibility that my granddad could have lung cancer. So yesterday was particularly difficult for me.
If it doesn't rain, it pisses down for you at the minute, doesn't it?
It's outrageous, but it had to be done, and at least if anyone gets anything out of it, then that's good enough for me, Let's talk about some transfers then, and let's talk about some Everton players who potentially could be moving away from the club, who haven't even made several senior appearances yet. Let's just mention Thiago Small, because we've all seen some of the things about Thiago Small. He's obviously a very talented footballer, 16 years old, made his first team appearance this season. Doesn't look happy not playing games, and what's your thoughts on it?
Well, for me, I couldn't believe what I was reading. Is he 16? I think he's 16, isn't he? Yeah. And he's talking about now, moving, hoping someone like Man United or Arsenal come in for him. Well, no disrespect to Thierry Small, but if he's not getting picked for Everton, what makes him think if he leaves our club and goes to somewhere like Old Trafford that he's going to get game time there? Did see something today that maybe there could be some sort of, agreement between Everton, Carlo Ancelotti and Thierry Small. Maybe there might be a 1-year contract extension to see how much game time he gets next season. Listen, we all know he's a talent, but I think what worries me about Thierry Small, Michael, is the things he's saying. Has he become too big for his boots? Because if he's talking about moving to somewhere like Old Trafford to play for Man U, Arsenal, because he's not getting game time at Everton, then for me, I think he just needs to take a step back, in my opinion, and see what he can get out of Everton Football Club, see if he gets a chance next season, and then we could all understand his frustration after that if he doesn't get a run of games or, a sniff of first-team football next season. But for me, what he's saying, I think it's a bit too early in his career, to be fair.
I agree. When you look at the people in front of him, he's got the best left-back in the Premier League in Luca Dean in front of him, and he's got the second best left-back in the Premier League in Nkunku in front of him. So, he can rightly be the third best Premier League in the right back in the Premier League, no problem at all, because no one else touches the Everton side, in my opinion. Luke Shaw, nah. Robertson, nah. None of them really fit. So, we have got the three best left backs in the world. Actually, let's just go that far. For me, I completely agree. This is the difference. This is where you've got players who, in my opinion, have an attitude or don't have an attitude. So you'll have a player that might not be happy that they're not playing games, and that's fair enough. But I still don't want them to be opening their mouth. I just want them to get on with it, train hard, and get themselves in that team. Him opening his mouth at 16 years old when he's got Luca Dean in front of him just makes me think I'm not sold on that, to be honest. But look, I'm glad he's ambitious. You know, that's a positive. The ambition is positive, but I think he's a bit too early to be saying. Yes. Especially considering this is the season he's had a little bit of media hype. You know, he was built up a little bit before we'd even seen him. Let's just say that's what I think.
It's one to watch.
One to watch. I love that, John. I love that. As you can see, I'm standing, so I'm a little bit more mobile to that, which is good considering how obese I am.
What, you're having a fucking fit? Keep fucking moving.
Brilliant. Well, cheers. Let's talk about another defensive target we've been linked with again. Ramaguli, or I can never say his name. Ramaguli, obviously plays over in Italy now. Originally 2 weeks ago it was £30 million. This week it's £17 million. Yeah. Very, very good defender. Obviously, a lot of people know that he's sort of been pushed out of his position by Tomori, who's obviously on loan from Chelsea. It looks like they want to keep him. So he could well be up for grabs. It's not quite the same as Koulibaly, though, for me.
Well, it's not. I mean, AC Milan, isn't it, that he plays for? Yeah. Now, listen, I think, this is what I like about the transfer structure Everton have at the minute, Michael, because we're being linked with Koulibaly and now we're being linked with an AC Milan defender, Ramagoli or whatever his name is. But this is what I like about Everton, because Everton in seasons gone by have been very guilty of putting all their eggs in one basket. You know, we have.
Zuma.
Yeah, we've done it. You know, Zuma was a perfect example. And listen, it wasn't too bad because we got Godfrey out of that. But, you know, if we can't get Koulibaly, and this is the transfer structure now that probably Ancelotti's coming up with, go and get me, as you mentioned the other week, Michael, on a video you done, A, B, and C. If you can't get A, which is Koulibaly, try and get me B, which is the defender. I'm not going to say his name again, but the defender we're talking about from AC Milan. You know, so it's good to have options, because at the end of the day, I said this the other day, Michael, if Napoli are looking to cash in on him, there'll be much, much bigger clubs. And it hurts me to say that, but we can't say it because, you know, Everton haven't been as successful as we want them to be over the past couple of years or for a long time. You know, let's say it how it is. So it's good that if we can't get Koulibaly, we go and get an AC Milan defender. You know, so it's not putting the eggs in one basket like we've been guilty of in the past. So it's good to have these options, you know. And listen, I think being linked with these sorts of players, I think it's pretty obvious that Ancelotti does want another centre-back. You know, we had the conversation the other day. We've got Michael Keane there at the minute. We've got Yerry Mina. We've got Ben Godfrey. We're linked with Koulibaly. We've had Branthwaite out on loan. We're not short of centre-backs, but I think if we want to make that step up, we have to be looking at defenders from AC Milan or Koulibaly from Napoli, maybe moving Michael Keane on, who maybe Ancelotti thinks, he's had a good season. Don't get me wrong, Michael Keane. But to take Everton to, I'll talk about my ladder again, moving up these rungs on this ladder, you've got to be looking at, you know, these defenders that we are being linked with, because in my opinion, Ben Godfrey could become a season pro next season, you know, and I think we'll probably agree on this, Michael. And even Ancelotti and Marcel Brands, we've been very, very surprised how quick he's took to the Premier League, how quick he's found his feet. And for me, Ben Godfrey has been fantastic. Now, if we can bring someone in the mould of Koulibaly and Reguilon or whatever his name is, you know, to play alongside Ben Godfrey, one, it's a fantastic partnership, but two, their experience that they've had playing for the clubs they've played for, in the competitions they've played for, will be fantastic for Ben Godfrey.
I want to just mention a player who we signed 2.5 years ago now, I think. Is it 2.5, 1 year? It's 2.5 years ago, I'm sure. Jean-Philippe Gabami.
Oh yeah.
Appears,
He's
and
been
obviously,
found. Someone's found
well,
him.
it appears that obviously Carlo's press conference was today. We have got the match preview coming out tomorrow. It is being recorded straight after this, so we're keeping the
Things
content
can change with training, so let us off if an injury comes out.
Yeah. So obviously, Carlo's mentioned that look, he hasn't played in such a long time. Do you put him on the bench?
Yeah. Listen, we have to start somewhere with Gabarman. Obviously, you don't throw him in. It'd be a massive, massive mistake, and I don't think we need to throw him straight in. So put him on the bench. If we're winning the game, with the 20 minutes to go, and we're winning comfortably, bring him on, give him some game time, because at the end of the day, Michael, you've played football, I've played football. The only way you get match fit is by playing games. You can train fucking 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but it's not like the rough and the tumble of the Premier League. And that's the sort of thing that Jean-Philippe Gabarman needs, because that's the sort of player he is. So give him 20 minutes at the end of the game, if we're okay, if we've got the 3 points sewn up, because at the end of the day, and this is no dig or disrespect to Gabarman, but this is his last chance saloon for me at Everton Football Club, and I said to you, Michael, before he signed for Everton, he hadn't really had a career-threatening injury. I think the longest he'd been out was 3 or 4 games from the previous clubs he'd played for. I think he's played something like 60 minutes in a year and a half or something, or whatever it is. So take our time with him, build match fitness up, see him a couple of times before the end of the season, give him a full pre-season. If he can make it to the end of the season without breaking down again, give him a full pre-season. And in my opinion, hopefully we will see the best of him next year or next season.
Yeah. I also wanted to just touch base on, obviously there's loads of rumours about Everton flying around, but I'm very conscious that we keep talking about the same players, so I don't want to. What I wanted to do was look at more of our squad this week, because we did the good video on Tuesday, so I wanted to look at a little bit about us this week. And another player that yet again is not available is Fabian Delph. But actually, does anyone know what's wrong with Delph? And can you see him leaving in the summer?
Well, the first answer to your question is I don't think he's injured. I don't believe he's injured. I just think Carlo Ancelotti really doesn't fancy him. So what's the point in playing him when we're probably going to let him go anyway? So for me, Fabian Delph will leave at the end of the season. I think that's pretty nailed on. He's not getting game time. I don't believe he's injured. I really don't believe he's injured. And listen to Fabian Delph, he's got many Premier League winners' medals, and he got built up to be this big thing when he come to Everton. I remember when Everton signed him, Marcel Brands actually paid him a personal visit to his house, and he sold him the project. We've got Bramley Moore, we're talking about a new stadium, Carlo Ancelotti. It just hasn't worked out for Fabian Delph. And listen, Fabian Delph will fit in, and he will get into a lot of teams. Michael, he will, because he's not. Listen, you can't be a bad player if you play for Manchester City for as long as he did and win the medals he did. So he's not a poor player. I just don't think Carlo Ancelotti fancies him. For me, I don't believe he's injured. I don't believe he's injured. I just don't think he's getting any game time whatsoever.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Because I find it weird. And I also find it weird that he's never really, no one's asked a question about him. You see the press conferences and nobody really says, where is Delph? It's almost like they're briefed not to ask questions on Delph. It's really weird, because they're
either briefed, or they probably think, well, it's pointless asking a question about him because we don't see him anyway. At the end of the day, Michael, these media people and the press who probably do these interviews at Finch Farm, they know more than what we do. They probably know that Fabian Delph hasn't got a future at Everton Football Club. They probably know he's not injured, but they can't come out and go, well, hang on, Carlo, you're saying he's injured. We know he's not. They're not going to say that. So I think that's why they sort of skirt around the Fabian Delph talk. I think they just take it that he's not, whether he's fit or not, he's not even going to get a chance at Everton. And I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's fair. Everton moving forward, obviously, we will touch a little bit more on it in the next, obviously in the preview, so we've got to record that straight after this. But this is a huge 10 weeks for Everton. And this is where Everton have got to sort of really step up now. You know, if they want European competition next season, they've got to finish above Liverpool. They've got to finish above Spurs. Because I personally think West Ham, I think they're solid enough under Moyes. I think they'll manage to stay in the top 6. I think Leicester won't fall out of the top 4. So I genuinely believe that the 6th spot is between us, Tottenham, and Liverpool. And it's going to be a hell of a game for 10 weeks, having seen how bad we are at home this season. We really need our transfers, our game changers from what we had last season to really step up. And I'm particularly pointing my finger at James Rodriguez, not because he hasn't been good enough this season, just because we haven't seen enough of him. It's key for us, isn't it, for the next 10 games? He is. Because even Calvert-Lewin looks a different player without him in the team.
Well, we spoke about that, haven't we? You know, and Calvert-Lewin's had to come back into our half this season since Ramires hasn't been playing to look for the ball, which I'm not being funny. If your centre-forward's doing that, who the fuck's going to score the goals? Because there's no one up there if he's coming back to look for the ball. Ramires stays fit for 10 weeks. It gives us a real chance at Europa League. I think the top 4 is going to think we've already agreed on that.
Yeah.
If he breaks down again, it's going to be tough because that then puts Dominic Calvert-Lewin in the same predicament. Where's the service coming from? Doesn't come from Tom Davis. Doesn't come from Allen. If Decore comes back before the end of the season, doesn't come from him. Massive 10 weeks for Everton. This game's massive, and I know we're going to talk about that in the transfer video, the match preview video. It's for me, Everton have to go on a good run now. We have to start, and I know you mentioned the home form there, Michael. We've lost 2 on the bounce at home now. We have to start picking up the points at home. Because you've said in previous videos, our away form, it's sort of like 3rd or 4th in the league of away form. But on the home form, we're like fucking 16th, 17th. It's not good enough. People who used to say to me and you, Michael, and we spoke about it, Fortress, Goodison Park, it's not Fortress anymore. Because I'm not being funny, the proof's in the pudding. You know.
In my opinion, Goodison hasn't been a fortress for a few years, not just this year. You know, we lost to Norwich, Sheffield United. We lost to teams that we should be beating last season at home. So I don't think Goodison is as much as a fortress as it used to be. I really don't.
At the end of the day, these 10 games make or break our season. You know, and I think if we don't finish in the Europa League, it's still being a season of progress because Carlo Ancelotti's had one summer transfer window. If we can finish in the Europa League, you know, personally, I'm not a lover of the Europa League because you've got Thursday, Sunday, then you've got the Carabao Cup that kicks in, and you've got the FA Cup that kicks in. This is where what we spoke about, Michael, we need a better quality squad because then you can afford to drop players, but you're bringing quality in. You look at our bench at the last couple of games, you know, in the cup games, you know, it's been poor. So for me, it's a massive, massive 10 weeks for Everton Football Club. I think if we can win the majority of the games, and as you've said, Michael, on a lot of videos we've done, we spoke personally as well. If you look at the run of games that a lot of clubs have got coming up who were chasing that Europa League, Everton's isn't a bad run. It's not a bad run of fixtures, and you'd like to think you'll pick up more points than what you lose.
Yeah.
If we can get our home form right with this run of fixtures that we've got coming up from now to the end of the season, I have no doubts we will get European football in the shape of the Europa League. If we can't sort our home form out for these last 10 weeks, 10 games, then you're probably looking at 8, 9, 10, which is still an improvement. You know, it's not a bad season for the first full season for Carlo Ancelotti. But 6 weeks ago, Michael, we were all walking around with our heads held high thinking, oh, fucking hell, top 4, look at this here, fucking smashing this. And then we've hit that brick wall again, Michael, which is what I always speak about. We go on this run of form where we win 6, 7 games, and then we lose 1 or 2, and bang, we hit that brick wall, and then we go on a run. We've done it with Newcastle, with Leeds, with Burnley. We've done it all season. Now we have to go from now to the end of the season with these games that we've got left without hitting this fucking brick wall that I keep talking about now, and pick up as many points as what we can. Because if we can finish in even the Europa League places, it's massive for Everton. It's massive for Everton. Carlo, I think when Carlo's mentioned, our aim is European football, I think deep down, his hope has been Europa League. When we went on that run and we were in the top four, and we've still got the game in hand, and teams up there with sort of dropping points who we could finish above, them teams are now picking up. So I think Carlo's now at the situation of this season where he's thinking, well, if we can get Europa League, deep down, that's where I thought we could finish. So
there is also the UEFA Conference competition from next season, which is essentially, from what I understand, a glorified Intertoto Cup.
Oh, fucking hell.
Is that
as well as Europa League, is it?
Yeah. So there's the Champions
I'm not being
League.
funny. It's just ridiculous. It's like these friendlies that the international teams are playing, Michael, and they're taking players away from their clubs while we're in the middle of a pandemic. They're fucking pointless. So that is, in my opinion, another competition that is absolutely pointless. We've got the Europa League, we've got the Champions League, we've got the Carabao Cup or whatever it is, the FA Cup, the Premier League. There's 5 competitions. What's the point in throwing another one in?
Well, yeah, and obviously we don't know what's Well, we don't know what's going to happen with the Carabao Cup in a few years, because obviously the Champions League's expanding, which is going to be interesting. One last thing I just want to talk about on transfer videos, and this could well be an April Fool's thing that I saw. As we all know, Sergio Aguero is not being offered a new contract at Manchester City. Now, I am not for a second saying Everton are going to sign him. But, John, you keep telling me we need another striker.
We do. We need an out-and-out striker, but I don't think it'll be Aguero, unfortunately. I think he'll go back to Argentina. He's been linked to the dark side.
Well, apparently he's come out and said he wants to stay in the Premier League.
Well, at the end of the day, let's break this down very quick before we end this video. Aguero's a fantastic player. He's Man City's top scorer this season. He's missed so many games with injuries, but he's still their top scorer. I'm very surprised to let him go, but I think Haaland could possibly end up there. But then his agent is flying to Spain today to talk to Barcelona and Real Madrid. So, listen, I think that will become a bidding war for Haaland. Does Aguero end up at Everton? Probably not. It'd be great. Milan are talking about letting Lukaku go as well. Does Lukaku come back to us? I think Lukaku would be fantastic at Everton right now under Carlo Ancelotti.
I think the issue is there's so many teams that need a striker, because let's be fair. Timo Werner looks absolutely like, I'm not being funny, I wouldn't be scared standing in front of him with him holding a gun to me, because he can't shoot. He can't shoot.
Looks like a rabbit in the headlights, doesn't he?
Honest to God, he's everywhere. His balance is all over the shop. Did you see the miss for Germany in the break? Yeah, oh my God! Horrific.
The thing is that the problem you have with Timo Werner now, Michael, he's taking his Premier League form onto the international stage. So
he's done. He's done.
Well, this is the thing, and you look at a lot of players, Michael, if they're having a poor run of form and they can't hit a barn door, then they go away with their international team and they have an absolute worldie, and then they come back to their club team. Well, yeah, but then they come back to their club team and the majority of them start scoring. They go on a scoring speed. They only need that one goal. He can't, honest to God. Timo Werner wouldn't score in the brothel with a tenner hanging out of his back pocket. Honest to God.
Brilliant. What a description, Annie. Fantastic. One other thing as well, just while we're there, obviously there is a lot of teams in the Premier League that need a striker. Man City are going to need a striker. I think Manchester United would like a striker. I think Chelsea would like a striker. I think Liverpool probably need a striker. I think if Harry Kane leaves Tottenham, and I could see him leaving Tottenham for Man United, they will need a striker. Dominic Calvert-Lewin could be very sought after in the summer. What's your thoughts on him?
No, I don't see Calvert-Lewin moving yet. I think it'll be another Richarlison with Calvert-Lewin, Michael. I think he will have the conversation if them clubs come in for him. Big clubs come in for him. Because listen, these players get a sniff of it. If clubs are interested, they do get a sniff of it. I think he'll sit down and have the conversation with Ancelotti, and it will probably be the same conversation as what Richarlison at the beginning of the season. Where are we going? What are you aiming for next season? Stay with us, Dominic. Get us to that top 4. If we can't, and he has another season like last season where, like this season where he's scoring goals and, he's scoring on the international stage now, I don't see Dominic Calvert-Lewin leaving at the end of this season, regardless of which teams need a striker. Listen, we always say there's no smoke without fire. Nothing's being rumoured about Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I don't see him. He's going to be in an Everton shirt next season, in my opinion.
Fair enough. I only asked because he was mentioned as some Chelsea fan comments that I'd seen. But yeah, obviously they're
Dominic Calvert-Lewin. If Dominic Calvert-Lewin goes to someone like Chelsea or Man United, as you say, or Tottenham, if Harry Kane goes to Man United, it's going to be big money because, as you say, Michael, strikers are really sought after at the minute. There's not many top strikers in world football.
Yeah,
who are young.
Yeah.
So Dominic Calvert-Lewin will have a big price tag on his head. It wasn't long ago he signed a contract. I don't see Everton selling him. And if they do, clubs are going to have to pay big money. Big money. I don't think Everton are a selling club anymore. We have been in the past and we're not. We don't... I'm saying this tongue-in-cheek here because it's great to say this. I don't think Everton need the money like we have in the past. You look at some players we've let go in the past. Everton are absolutely minted. It's financial fair play to fuck Everton. We don't need to sell to buy. I won't name the clubs, but I think we all know who I'm referring to. Dominic Calvert-Lewin will be in the Everton shirt next year, in my opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. And one of the clubs you mentioned there's Tottenham. I don't think he'd go to Tottenham. I don't understand why. Why would I don't. I'm not saying that Everton are as big as Spurs currently, but the direction Everton are going, they'll be bigger very soon. That's my opinion.
Without a doubt. It'd be. Listen, we've had players at our club, Michael, who've thought the grass is greener, and they've moved on. Franny Jeffers was one. We've had a few. Jolie Lescott made the move, thought the grass was greener. These players think the grass is greener. Yeah, Jack Rodwell, and it all falls flat on its arse. So I don't think Everton are like that anymore. And I think players over at Everton now realise there's something getting built. There's something in the pipeline. Everton are going to become really, really successful. I'm not going to say it's happening overnight. I'm not going to say it's in the next, season, 2 seasons. In the next 5 years, going into Bramley-Moore, I think we can all say that we're going to be consistently challenging for trophies. I'm not just going to say the Premier League, but consistently top 4. And throw the FA Cup and the cup competitions in.
And the Champions League.
Well, yeah, well, it is top 4, and as I say, I'm not going to say we're going to win the league, but
I mean winning the Champions League.
Well, I'm not being funny. If we can win the Champions League, then we can win the Premier League. Now, it'd be great in the next 5 years if we can go into Bramley-Moore and winning trophies like that. Listen, and I'm not going to sit here because I'll probably get shot down for it if there's any trolls on here, which there always is. Sometimes, talking out your ass. I'm an Everton fan and I want to think like that and I want to look that far ahead because we've been that starved of success since 1995 that I'm not going to sit here and go, well, new ground or no new ground, we're not going to challenge for nothing. Everton will challenge. The club has got money. And if this financial fair play rule comes in, Everton will be able to spend. And then we've got the naming rights, which will help, which attracts players. Carlo Ancelotti can attract players. The project can attract players. So better quality players, Michael. It goes without saying, better quality players. And you win things, you challenge for things. And I don't see why players would want to leave the situation that Everton are in at the minute to go to somewhere like Tottenham. I just don't get it. The same as Arsenal. Why would you leave Everton to go to somewhere like Arsenal?
Well, yeah. John, let's leave it there. Thank you ever so much for watching. Obviously, that was Talking Transfers. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. Buy yourselves a plaque from teamwallart.com.
I did get a message today, funny enough, it was in the comments as well. One of our followers did buy 2 wall art yesterday, 2 plaques from Team Wall Art yesterday.
There you go. Discount code.
Everyone go and buy one.
BBN10. And yeah, some exciting stuff coming up. John, I'll see you in 30 seconds. Peace.
Cheers, folks. Thanks very much for watching.